Hi everyone, I'm JD from Willowbound Journals, and I've got my Psalms journaling Bible here, and I thought I would read through a couple Psalms today and just share how they speak to me, and hope that this is encouraging. And I had to cancel the Psalms and Bible Journal course earlier this month just because of too much time away from the course, taking a break over Easter, and then straight after Easter having being sick for a week and then taking another week to recover. It was just too much time out, and so I had to cancel that, unfortunately, but gave me some time to reassess. And I thought I would start maybe doing more of these videos on my channel instead. Bring back our Sunday faith videos. We'll see how we go. This year I am, living a more, what am I calling it? A slower, smaller, simpler life. Whereas last year was all plan, do this, do that, do everything. This year it's wake up in the morning and do what I feel led to do. So here we go. Psalm 63. You, God, are my God. Oh, actually, hang on. I want to actually go here. I'm just seeing if I want to read out all three of these or just two. Let's go with Psalm 61 and we'll go onwards. Just a laid back video here. Hear my cry, O God. Listen to my prayer. From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I, for you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe. I long to dwell in your tent forever and take refuge in the shelter of your wings. For you, God, have heard my vows. You have given me the heritage of those who fear your name. Increase the days of the king's life, his years for many generations. May he be enthroned in God's presence forever. Appoint your love and faithfulness to protect him. Then I will ever sing in praise of your name and fulfill my vows day after day. So I read this at a time when I was going through, just a bit of a rough patch, coming out of a rough patch. So again, I talk about this in the, I did talk about this in the Bible course, but how I'm not reading these Psalms or the Bible in this mode right now, in this particular season of my life, as a study. I'm more reading it maybe as a devotion, and more just as a conversation, I guess, might be the best way to put it. I come to the Bible bringing myself to it, my situation, my thoughts, my feelings. I bring me just as I am to it and let God dialogue with me right where I am, that kind of thing. So I'm not looking at the context, the historical context. I'm not even looking at the universal truths in it. I'm just coming as I am whenever I come to read it and let God just talk to me and I listen to him as I bring myself to it. And so if I read this, for example, a month ago, I might hear something completely different in terms of my situation. So because I was going through a time of coming out of struggling, that kind of thing, I really related to this part. I felt like God, through his word here and through the authors writing these words, was saying to me, yeah, I see you there where you feel like your heart is faint. And then it spoke to me by saying, hey, when your heart is faint, you can call on God. And instead of just being like, oh, my heart is faint, I'm just going to stay in this place and just think about how faint my heart is forever and ever and ever. It's like, oh, no, wait, hang on. When my heart is faint, I can call to my God. And when I do that and remember to call on him, what he does is leads me to a rock that is higher than I. So here I am feeling like I'm just brought low. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, this wasn't like a terrible struggle I was going through. It was just, the normal struggles of life. And, sometimes we get brought low. And it's not a good or bad thing. There's no shame or judgment about this. Sometimes we're going to go through high times and low times. It's all good. But it's what we do. It's how we respond. We're always going to go through low times through this life. We're always going to go through seasons of low times. It's how we respond. And so it's a constant kind of lesson that I'm learning because I'm so thick, because humans tend to be slow at learning things. So, is that when I'm low, I can get brought to a higher place, metaphorically, if I remember to call on God sooner. But sometimes I just want to, either it's because the situation is just so desperate, or it could just be literally me wallowing in self-pity and that kind of thing. So, yeah, but regardless, when my heart is faint, I can call on him, and I know from past experience, this is why I'm so dim, I know from past experience that when I do call on him, he leads me to higher ground, metaphorically. He takes me out of my low thoughts and my place of feeling so lowly, and he brings me higher because the situation hasn't changed. It's just that he's changed my perspective, and he's strengthened my heart, and he's encouraged my heart. And so he is my refuge and a strong tower. And I have experienced that countless times, and yet still, because of my dimness as a human, I forget that's such a quick thing I can do. It's just, remember, he's my refuge and strong tower, and here's the thing I can hold on to when I am feeling low and faint. And this idea, that longing, we can so easily lose that longing for God and for his presence and for his kingdom culture way of love and peace and freedom and joy and all that kind of thing, and how his shelter, he is a refuge and a shelter under his wings, in his presence when we go to him. And so, just knowing that he does protect me, but I'm the one who pushes it away. I'm the one who ignores it or forgets it, or just, could actively, forgetting is more of a passive way of, not accessing God's, all of the things that he has for us, his goodness and kindness and peace and encouragement and strength. And there's other times where it's more of an active thing. No, I'm going to rub up against and fight against this. I was more of passive. It was literally just a forgetting here at this situation. But just a reminder. So even though I didn't see, instant change, I'm brought to a high place instantly after reading this psalm, what it did do, though, was just bring me a little bit higher. It gave me a step higher. I didn't go from the valley to the top of the mountain, but I did go a step higher from where I was. And that's enough. That is enough to just break me out of my own place of feeling just so lowly. And again, it wasn't anything major. It was just emotions, feelings, thoughts, times that you go through in life. And every time I read this, it is one step, just one little baby step it might be. Sometimes it's a giant step up higher. Other times it's literally just the tiniest little fairy step. But it's worth it. And if you build it up over the time, over days, over weeks, over years, keep reading these words of God that encourage us and strengthen us, then, step by step by step by step. And sometimes you will get an instant thing, oh my gosh, that snaps me out of that whole thing. It changes my entire way of seeing, and now I am on the mountaintop. Sometimes that does happen, but often, and what I've been learning from reading the Psalms regularly is it's just a little step. Maybe this one's a step this high, and the next one it's a step this high, but little tiny steps are okay too. Anyway, let me read Psalm 62. I hope this is encouraging, and hope it just demonstrates, I'm always talking about leading by example and just sharing openly and honestly and vulnerably your journey. And, I could be wrong about everything I'm sharing, and I could be, not biblically correct and all of that kind of stuff. And always do your own research and don't take my word as gospel or anything like that. Absolutely not. But I'm modeling my conversation with God and his conversation with me through this, and just here I am, and it's not this mystical holier than thou thing or process. It's literally just, here I am as a broken mess, and here is how God speaks to me and how I hear him, and how I talk to him and he listens to me, and all that. It's a conversation, and it's real and it's raw and it's messy and it's gritty, and yeah. Anyway, so Psalm 62. Truly my soul finds rest in God. My salvation comes from him. Truly he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will never be shaken. How long will you assault me? Would all of you throw me down this leaning wall, this tottering fence? Surely they intend to topple me from my lofty place. They take delight in lies. With their mouths they bless, but in their hearts they curse. Yes, my soul finds rest in God. My hope comes from him. Truly he is my rock and my salvation. He is my fortress. I will not be shaken. My salvation and my honor depend on God. He is my mighty rock, my refuge. Trust in him at all times. You people, pour out your hearts to him, for God is our refuge. Surely the low-born are but a breath, the high-born are but a lie. If weighed on a balance, they are nothing. Together they are only a breath. Do not trust in extortion or put vain hope in stolen goods. Though your riches increase, do not set your heart on them. One thing God has spoken, two things I have heard. Power belongs to you, God, and with you, Lord, is unfailing love, and you reward everyone according to what they have done. And yeah, at the time, again, this is already like speaking to me in different ways, reading it now, but I'll go back to, a week ago when it was speaking to me then. And this is why I encouraged in the Bible course as well was, reread. Even a week later, reread it again, because it's going to speak to you in a different way, quite possibly, because you're now in a different place. We change from week to week because we don't think the same way we did a week ago, because we're not in the same situation, and because we've grown and progressed within that week. So reread the Psalms, reread the Bible, because it's going to speak to you in different ways and have a different conversation. So anyway, going back to this, I love that idea of truly my soul finds rest in God. So anytime that I'm feeling anxious, in turmoil, in chaos, in mess, just this one line, this is another thing. Yes, there's value in every word in the Bible, but sometimes just one line, you can just dwell on that, and that's enough. So I might, for example, read this whole thing and not go into any of it. Well, not go into most of it. And I could, and that might take like a longer time, an hour more, going line by line, having a conversation about each and every line. But all I'm going to do, and what's more doable and more practical for me in this time of my life, is just go, this one line here is it's strengthening me and giving me encouragement for this time that I'm going through right now. Truly my soul finds rest in God, and I'm just going to meditate on that. I'm going to think about that. I'm going to let that speak to me, let that fill me, let that be my encouragement. Where it is chaotic and messy and anxious all in me and around me or whatever, this is a truth that God gives rest, and I can access that, I can feel it, experience it as a tangible thing, and I am, holding on to that. And so I wouldn't do it if I didn't see the evidence of it, that whole thing. And so, I access that rest and can just, let go of all of my strivings or all of my trying to problem solve and all of that, and just go, I find my rest in God. Whatever that looks like for whatever situation you're in, it might look different for different people, what that feels like. But for me, it's enough to just be like, yep, okay, that's taking me a bit step higher out of that anxiousness. That's taking me a bit step higher out of feeling like doom and gloom out of this situation, and instead of think, no, it's still messy, but I've got peace in that messiness now. Anyway, next one, I've got quite a lot I want to just to share, I guess, and I don't want to make this video too long, otherwise it takes forever to upload and all that kind of thing, so I'll just do one more, and I hope you're finding this helpful in some way, and it's giving something good, even if it's just like one little thing. Psalm 63, You, God, are my God, earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you, my whole being longs for you, in a dry and parched land where there is no water. I have seen you in the sanctuary and beheld your power and your glory, because your love is better than life. My lips will glorify you. I will praise you as long as I live, and in your name I will lift up my hands. I will be fully satisfied as with the richest of foods. With singing lips my mouth will praise you. On my bed I remember you. I think of you through the watches of the night, because you are my help. I sing in the shadow of your wings. I cling to you. Your right hand upholds me. Those who want to kill me will be destroyed. They will go down to the depths of the earth. They will be given over to the sword and become food for jackals. But the king will rejoice in God. All who swear by God will glory in him, when the mouths of liars will be silenced. So kind of two different thoughts here. And this was back, I read this back on the same date or time frame as these ones, but I didn't write, and I highlighted back then, but I didn't write my piece until today. And so I can see though that, so I've progressed a bit further than when I originally highlighted these and when these originally spoke to me, but I hope that I've captured how they were speaking to me back then. So again, at that time I was coming out of a struggle, but still struggling, but in a different way, because there's the struggle and then there's the time post-struggle where you have to reckon with what you've just been through, that kind of thing. And so I was just realizing that as I was in the time that I did struggle and after the time that I struggled, I wasn't, thinking about God much. I wasn't, I'm thinking about him. I can't help but think of him every day, but I wasn't actively thinking of him. I wasn't actively seeking him and bringing myself to him, if that makes sense. Of course I have the general sense of him and generally talk to him all the time and that kind of thing, but I wasn't showing up. I wasn't bringing myself to him, that kind of thing. And that's often the case when we struggle. Because I'm struggling, I don't want to show up. It's too hard, it's too painful, or it's too much energy. It might literally just be too much energy. Can't be bothered. I'm just going to be in my struggle, so I don't show up. And I don't talk to God in a active, seeking, intentional way, where I bring my struggles to him, that kind of thing, in a specific way. Anyway, so here I am, and during that struggle and post-struggle, I would lie in bed and just think about my struggle. I would just think about all these bad things, and think about how bad I'm feeling and all that kind of stuff. And when I read this, I was like, oh, okay, that's speaking to that situation. Like, because usually in better times, I can talk to God and just pray, or it's usually, for me, it's through journaling. I don't necessarily just lie there in bed and talk to him. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I definitely do that. But usually for me, it's through either writing down my prayer, or it's through typing a journal entry. And even though that journal entry might not be me directly speaking to God, it's me turning up on the page, showing up and facing what I'm going through. And through that, I believe, I'm conversing with God every day, every moment of my life anyway, because he's there all the time, that kind of thing. So in a way, that's one of my ways of, and a tool I believe and feel that God has given me. Writing is my way of facing myself, turning up, showing up, and being able to work with what I've got instead of just ignoring it, putting it aside or whatever. And so that is a way I can show up, and therefore now I've showed up for myself, I've showed up for God, if that makes sense. And so this idea of, I stopped writing, I stopped journaling, I stopped using writing as a way to pray. And so it's just a reminder to, maybe I could do that again, because I know that helps. It always helps. I know every single time that I seek God, and every single time that I even just write, it always helps. Even if I'm not going into it intentionally, like I'm going to do this because I know it helps. If I'm just doing it because I don't know what I'm doing and I just do it, or if I'm doing it because I feel like doing it, not necessarily because I want it to help, but just because I feel like it in the very moment, no matter what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, if I'm writing, it always helps. And if I talk to God and show up with him, it always helps. Even if it's just an acknowledgement of, here I am. just here I am as I am. And this idea that, you know, right here it says, because you are my help. So yes, I can always bring everything. I can bring myself, I can bring my struggles, I can bring my thoughts, I can bring my feelings, I can bring what I'm going through, because it helps to just literally just talk to him. It literally helps. You know, we can look at this word like you are my help and think, oh, it means it's going to pull us up and out of that situation, and it's going to be this like huge miracle or something. And other times, you know, at times it could look like that, yes. But often, you know, if I just speak from experience, it could literally be like nothing's changed, but all I've done is acknowledged where I am to myself and to God. So that now we can have a conversation and be like, okay, here's where you are. And that helps. And, you know, I can see the correlation here or the similarities to, you know, therapy, writing, journaling, talking, and just connecting with yourself. I think those are great things that are all similar, and doing the same thing to help oneself. And in a way, yeah, I see God as the ultimate therapist. And I wouldn't, you know, go to him and do all this stuff if I didn't see results, if I didn't see help, if I didn't see proper tangible experience in my life where it has helped. And, you know, I don't know what that means in the big picture, theologically or scientifically or psychologically or whatever, but that's what I love about therapy. And, you know, what kind of Kirk has taught me from Psychology in Seattle, one of the things is that he will use any modality, what's he call it, like I don't know, use different tools, because the ultimate aim of therapy is whatever helps. And so, yes, go to whatever helps and find what helps you. And for me, you know, God helps me, and he helps me in so many different ways. And, you know, so many different things help within that umbrella. But, yeah, so often I can forget that help because, like I said, I'm a dim human. So, yeah, just it helps. And I hope that I've shared some of the ways he has helped me through his word in just little tiny steps, being heard, being listened to, showing up, you know, just that one little step up higher, and just that encouragement, that strength in slow, simple ways. So I'll leave you with that and hope that was in any way helpful to you. And if you want to have a conversation with me too about any of this, feel free to share in the comments or email or whatever, and have your own conversations with yourself, with God, with a therapist, whatever, with a friend, with a stranger, whatever's going to help you. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Bye, guys.